Yeah, I think we could probably share, even as a band, a verse that we've been talking about from stage a lot is John 15:13. I'm not going to say it exactly right, but the greater love is no man than one who lays his life down for his friends. And that's, again, that song that Jason mentioned, A Better Way. That's kind of where that song comes from. And we try to live that out with each other, too, in our relationships throughout the band, because I don't think we can be together this long or go into the future and be together without having that attitude of laying ourselves down for each other. And so I think that's really been a verse for the band that we've sort of lived off of, not maybe necessarily knowing that exactly, but we've sort of come into that knowledge in the last little while.
I think, well, a lot of us in this band, well, pretty much all of us have, all of us, have a similar story in that we were raised in Christian homes and all accepted Christ at a very young age. So life before, I don't think anyone could really point to a time that faith wasn't at least part of our household, and then cognitively we grew into faith. I think what we could speak to is times of walking away from the Lord, and those times are times without accountability. I think pretty much always, And for me, the way the Word, I forget who the quote was, and I'm sure someone out there knows, but it was penned. I think it was Jim Elliot's Bible that said, "This book will keep you from sin, or sin will keep you from this book." And anytime I encounter the Word, and in a state of walking away, in a state of rebellion, it's always a breaking point, I think. Even just hearing a great message that was spoken on the Word will definitely have that impact in my life, and I find a renewed faith. It was a couple years ago. I was kind of going through a bit of a dark time and just really struggling, I think, in my walk, and struggling, wondering where God was in the area of just providing. And being in a band is not like the glamorous life, I think, that a lot of people think. And I intersected with a series that John Ortberg had put together that was basically a walk through the Old Testament. And all of a sudden I became aware, and it wasn't just one particular verse or even a book, but just the Old Testament as a whole, God revealing the cost of sin and the cost of walking away from Him, and also the redemptive nature that God was fulfilling His covenant. And that actually was a source of a song that we wrote actually recently, A Better Way, just talking about the plan of redemption as it intersects with our lives. So, yeah, that's...
It always blows my mind. I'm blown away by God's grace. It's almost like it's in those times that I walk away, in a sense, is where it proves to me that I belong to God, the Holy Spirit's conviction, and when I'm sinning, it just feels completely wrong, And I've been brought up in a Christian home. I know the right way, and even when I want to ignore what I know, my heart still won't ignore it. So it's pretty amazing.
I'm not alone. I really believe.
I think anytime that we encounter death is a time that I take a lot of comfort in the promises of new life and the promises of or just the fact that Christ conquered death. You know, I was just recently reading the Easter story. It was just a couple days ago, and I got a little choked up when Jesus is outside the tomb in Matthew, and Mary asks Jesus, you know, where have they taken? And Jesus just says, Mary, you know, and gosh, you know, I think the hope, the real hope, is the resurrection, you know. And we got our start as a band. We named ourselves Downhere on a song that Mark wrote about a friend of ours that died in a Sea-Doo accident on the coast. And the song sort of posed the question, why do good things happen to bad people? No, wrong. Why do bad things happen to good people? And it's so inconsistent. Sin and death is so inconsistent with the way that we're wired. It's so wrong. You know, we feel that injustice. I think all of us do. And some of us disown God because of it. You know, and we leave our conscience because we can't answer for the fact that there's pain and there's death in the world. And as a band, that's something that we wanted to address, and that's something that we wanted to focus on and try to sing songs that point people towards the truth of the resurrection.
The verse that song was kind of based on, and is also a verse that we've kind of made our central idea. We don't talk about it much these days, but when we first started out, it was, I believe it's 2 Corinthians 12 or 13, somewhere in there, and it's the verse that says, for now we see through a glass darkly, and now we see in part, and then we will see in full. And, you know, our band is all about working out our faith down here and using Christ's life as an example, but realizing that we're not going to have all the answers until we see the Lord face to face.